Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Wife Backstab Me in the True Off My Chest subreddit. The post is titled, "Wife used my past and secrets against me. I do not even know how to write this because my head feels like it is splitting in two. I keep hearing the words again and again, and I cannot believe they came out of her mouth. Reposting because there were some grammatical mistakes. We have been married 14 years. We built what I thought was a stable life together. 2 kids, our son who is 12 and our daughter who just turned 11. They are my entire world. When I look at them, I feel the kind of love I never knew existed, because the truth is I never experienced that kind of love as a child myself. That is something my wife has always known about me, though it took years before I could say it out loud. When we first got married, she noticed how I never talked about my parents. She noticed I avoided talking about childhood. She would tell me her stories, warm holiday memories, her parents decorating the house, sibling arguments that turned funny later. I would just nod and smile. She told me she wanted to understand me better, to really know me. Over the years, she kept pressing until one day she begged me to open up, so I did. 7 years ago, I finally told her everything. I told her I was never meant to be here. I was the 4th child after 3 siblings, a failed contraception baby, an accident. That is the word my parents used. They reminded me constantly that they did not want me. It was not subtle, it was not hidden, it was spoken outright. I told her about the amusement park when I was 9, the day they tried to get rid of me. They left me behind on purpose. I knew it even at that age. They thought I would panic, wander off, disappear. What they did not expect was that I had already memorized the road home. Hours later, they acted like it had been a mistake, like they lost me in the crowd, but I knew what it was. I knew what they had intended. I told her about the night my father wrapped his hands around my throat and squeezed until the world went dark at the edges. I could not breathe. My head felt like it would explode. To this day, I do not know why he let go. Maybe my mother walked in. Maybe something inside him pulled back at the last second. Whatever it was, I lived. Barely, but I lived. I told her about the food, how some nights everyone else ate, and I sat there watching. Not because we were poor, we had enough, but because I was excluded. If they bought something good, they shared it among themselves, never with me. I remember sitting at that table as a child, stomach empty, watching them laugh while I pretended not to exist. I told her how they never missed a chance to remind me I was an accident. My parents said it. My siblings picked it up. It became the running joke, that I should not exist, that I was the mistake they could not erase. I told her how once they admitted they had planned to abort me but never went through with it. They said it with no hesitation, as if it were a casual piece of trivia, not a dagger to my chest. And I told her about the winter night when my father locked me outside as punishment for something I did not even do. I was maybe 10. It was freezing. I stood out there shivering, crying, my teeth rattling. I honestly thought I would not make it through the night. A neighbor eventually saw me and banged on the door until my mother opened it. That neighbor probably saved me. These are the things I poured out to my wife. It was not easy. I remember shaking as I said them. I remember how exposed I felt, like I had ripped open scars I had carefully hidden for years. She hugged me after. She told me she was glad I trusted her. She promised she would never throw those things back at me. Last night, she broke that promise. We argued. It was stupid. It started with our son's homework. She said I was too soft on him, that I let things slide. I said she was too harsh. It escalated. We were both defensive. One of those arguments where you forget the point and just keep trying to win. And then she said it. She looked straight at me and said maybe my father should have finished what he started that night. I do not even deserve to have a family, let alone children. That maybe it would have been better if I had not survived. That I was never wanted anyway. And I was the one who told her so. I froze. I actually thought for a second that I misheard her, but she said it again. Calmly, as if she believed she was simply pointing out a truth. I cannot describe what it did to me. I have had cruel things said to me before in my life. I have been insulted, mocked, belittled. I know how to brush words off, but this was different. This was the one person I let into the deepest part of me. She took my pain and turned it into a weapon. I just stood there in silence. I did not even yell back. I could not. It felt like something shattered inside me. The rest of the night, I barely spoke. She acted normal, like nothing had happened. I went to the spare bedroom and stayed there. I lay awake the entire night, hearing her words over and over, blending with my parents' voices from years ago. Their cruel jokes, their reminders that I was unwanted, all coming back with her voice layered on top. I thought about the rage I carried as a teenager, how I used to wish my mother would die painfully. I thought those feelings were buried deep, but last night she dug them up and threw them right back at me. I cannot move past it. This morning she was cheerful, as if none of it had happened. I could barely look at her. All I could think was that something inside me had broken. I do not know if it can ever be repaired. Now I am sitting here thinking about divorce. Or at least separation. I do not even know how to start. I do not know what lawyer to call. I do not know how to explain to the kids why their parents are breaking apart. Part of me wonders if I'm overreacting, if this is just a fight gone too far. But I know myself. I know I am not overreacting, because I cannot imagine ever forgetting what she said. Usually I move on from almost anything. I swallow pain, bury it, keep going. But this is not something I can just swallow. This is different. She went to the deepest wound I have and drove the knife in. I need to say this clearly. I need validation. I need someone to tell me I am not crazy for feeling this broken. I need condolences, because I feel like I am spiraling, replaying her words in my head. I thought my past was behind me. I thought I had buried it and moved on. Last night showed me I was wrong. It is not buried, it is alive, and it can be used against me by the very person I trusted most. And I do not know how I could ever forgive that. Update. I waited until Tuesday. She went through the weekend and Monday like nothing had happened. A little colder than usual, quick with her answers, acting irritated like I was the one who had caused all of this. No apology, not even a hint. It felt like I was carrying something heavy while she just moved around it. By Tuesday afternoon, I could not hold it anymore. I asked her to sit down with me. The house was quiet. I told her I needed to talk about what she said during the fight, because this was not something we could just shrug off. I reminded her that the fight had started because I refused to hit our son while teaching. I told her I do not believe in beating kids to make them learn, and that she had pushed for it. That is where the argument began, and somehow it slid into something so much uglier. I asked her why she used what I told her in confidence against me. I reminded her that she had asked me to open up years ago and promised she would keep it safe. I asked her why she hugged me back then if this was where it would end up. At first, she was stiff. She said she did not know what else she was supposed to do at the time. She told me she just tried to act normal, to be supportive, because she did not know how to handle what I told her. She said she had not realized how heavy it all was until later. Her voice was even, like she was just explaining facts. I told her the promise mattered. I said it was not about a slip in anger. It was that she reached for the exact things I handed her in trust and turned them against me. I asked her again why. That is when she admitted it. She told me she lost some respect for me after I opened up. I asked what that meant. She said it was not one detail. It was the whole picture. She said she had always seen me as solid, someone who could carry weight without bending, the person she leaned on. But after I shared everything, she could not stop seeing the breaks under the surface. She said parts of my story made me look fragile to her. Some of the darker pieces, the way those years sat inside me, gave her an uneasy feeling she could not shake. Seeing me tear up and feel so nervous and like a wreck made her look very differently at me. She actually used the word ick. She said sometimes when she remembered those things, it got in the way of how she looked at me. I asked if that meant she thought less of me for surviving. She said it was not about surviving. It was about how it changed what she expected from me. She admitted she had built an image of me that did not include those kinds of wounds, and once she knew, she could not put that image back. I asked her why she hugged me then, why she told me she wanted to know me fully. She said she did not know what else to do in the moment. She did not want to punish me for telling the truth. She said holding me and saying it was okay felt like the only decent response at the time, even though inside she had already started to see me differently. I let that sit, then asked the harder thing. She said she could not control herself in that moment, and she reached for what she knew would hurt me most. She said she regretted it and that it would never happen again. I also thought about how it might sound from the outside, like maybe I had dumped too much on her back then, but the truth is I never sat her down and unloaded everything at once. I gave her my story the way she asked for it, piece by piece, only when she pressed me. If she wanted to know something, I answered. I did not overshare or volunteer random details, and even then, she probably only ever heard a fraction of what I actually live with. What makes this worse is that I have been to therapy. I have done the work. I was not unloading on her because I could not carry it myself. The only reason she even heard those parts of me was because she demanded it. She insisted I open up, insisted she wanted the whole picture. She told me she wanted to know me fully, and I believed her. I trusted her enough to hand over things I never planned on saying out loud. That is why this betrayal feels so much heavier. It was not me blurting out things I could not control. It was me handing her pieces of myself because she begged for them and swore she would hold them safe. And then she took those same pieces and cut me with them. It feels like giving someone your heartbeat because they said they wanted to hold it close, and then watching them drive a knife straight through it. After she said all of that, I just sat there for a while. It was like I had finally gotten the truth behind everything, but it did not settle in cleanly. I was not shocked anymore, more resigned. I also thought about how it might sound from the outside, like maybe I had dumped too much on her back then, but the truth is I never sat her down and unloaded everything at once. I gave her my story the way she asked for it, bit by bit, only in response to her questions. If she wanted to know something, I told her. I did not add anything extra or volunteer random details, and even then, she probably only heard a quarter of what I actually carry. Why was she so intent on me being open and emotionally vulnerable then? I told her I did not think I could just go back to how things were. I said I felt like the foundation was cracked in a way I could not ignore. I told her maybe the only way forward was to separate amicably, quietly, before things got any worse. I said I did not think I could keep looking at her the same way, not after knowing she could turn something so personal into a weapon. That is when her whole tone shifted. The firmness she had when she explained herself dropped, and she sounded almost panicked. She asked me not to say that, said she did not want a divorce. She told me she still loved me, that whatever she had done in anger was not bigger than the life we had built. She could not imagine splitting the kids between us or them growing up in two houses. She told me leaving would scar them more than anything we had been through. I told her love is not supposed to look like tearing each other apart with the sharpest words we can find. She said she knew that and promised again that it would not happen anymore. She said she had already admitted it was wrong, and she meant it when she said she would never go there again. She kept circling back to the same point, that we had kids, that they needed us together, that whatever issues we had to fix them without breaking the family apart. She did not cry, but there was a kind of desperation in her voice, almost like she was afraid I was already out the door and she was trying to pull me back any way she could. She did not apologize again for what she had said, not directly, but she kept stressing that it would never happen again, that I should not throw everything away over one mistake. Right now, I have not made a final decision. I keep going back and forth in my head. Part of me feels like the damage is too deep, and I would be lying to myself if I pretended I could ever really see her the same way again. But another part of me hesitates because walking away is not simple when there are kids and years of life tied together. I would be lying if I said I was not leaning more in one direction, the end, than the other, but I am not there yet. I feel heavy most days, caught between wanting to protect myself and not wanting to tear my family in half. Some moments I think I know what I have to do, then I second guess it. It is draining, but at least writing this down and hearing different perspectives has made me feel less alone in it. Thank you to everyone who has taken the time to read, comment, or even send me a message directly. It means more than I can put into words. I could not respond to every single individual, but I have gone through all of the comments, maybe even twice. Thank you, strangers. GPU Dude said she wants you to focus on her and the kids more than yourself and the hurt that she caused you. This should tell you more than anything else. What she did was essentially respond with emotional blackmail and make you think that your actions are the reason the kids are going to be hurt and that the relationship is potentially falling apart. Literally a narcissistic response. Golden Hind said, her not apologizing is what tears it for me. It signals that she still feels what she feels about you as she had described in her explanation. And frankly, that is what makes staying difficult, if not impossible. She can promise not to do it again, but if lack of control is the reason behind launching a devastating surgical attack with emotional abuse as her primary weapon of choice, then I am afraid her promise might ring hollow. Lack of control is what a person with abusive tendencies says to excuse their behavior. If you still have access to a therapist, I strongly encourage you to seek out their counsel to work through your feelings and help gain clarity in deciding what to do moving forward. I wish you good luck and light with whatever you decide to do.